The Asantehene also talked about the role of chiefs, and here he made the point about how chiefs have been ignored under the 1992 Constitution. Some people disagree with him on that, some agree with him, but he made a much more important point, which is like honey to us, because Otumfuo talked about the referendum, and he made the point that he understands why the referendum should be partisan, why political parties should be allowed to sponsor. He questioned why certain chiefs don't see that. He questioned why certain chiefs don't see why political parties should not be allowed to sponsor candidates. He also questions the government's attitude about having a whole exercise like this and ignoring the National House of Chiefs. Otumfuo was critical of the government, and rightly so, that the Ministry of Local Government seems to have done a very shoddy job in this matter. Since January 2018, when President Akufo-Addo announced this referendum, Hajia Alima Mahama and the Honorable Obi Amoa, who is one of the deputies at the ministry, and the people at the ministry, what have they been doing? What have they done so that they have not spoken to the National House of Chiefs? It is remarkable, it is shocking that the local government minister has not engaged with the National House of Chiefs on this matter, the referendum, to get their buy-in, get their understanding, get their support to educate their people. It is very shocking that Ministry of Local Government since January 2018 have not been able to achieve this. This is shocking. And Otumfuo talked about that. However, Otumfuo thinks that it should be a yes vote. He didn't say that, but hear what he said.
How is it possible then that the central government representing the modern state and Nananom representing the traditional state could find no space for engagement for the consideration of a major reform of local government and to agree a common position before such crucial reforms were rolled out? Sure. If there had been such engagement, I cannot think of how anyone could have ignored the logic of the case for according our chiefs a rightful representation in the new structure. And by the same token, I cannot think of how any chief would have seen any incompatibility in the removal of the entrenched clauses in the Constitution to permit the election of metro and district chief executives or mayors, and also allow political parties to sponsor candidates for local elections. Sure. Because this is a matter of such momentous importance, I hope all concerned will step back and take the heat out so we can see the light in the discourse.
Sure. Did you hear the Otumfuo statement? He said that he doesn't understand how any chief would think of it incompatible, that the entrenched clauses should be amended and that political parties should be allowed to sponsor candidates. That's the point. That's the position of the Asantehene. Hopefully, we can take this position to the NDC and plead with the NDC to have a U-turn, and never mind if it's another U-turn, but have a U-turn and understand the principle. I think part of it is a local government system that has not actually engaged, and Otumfuo was worried about that as well. How is it that the local government system has not engaged traditional authority? Even for you and I, how many times have you heard the local government system campaign on this matter? Is it because they have not been allocated money by the Ministry of Finance to do so? Is it because nobody is thinking about it? Is it because the people at the local government helm of affairs themselves are not particularly interested? But it is bizarre to find out that the president in his sessional address actually mentions the local government minister's name and says that he as president has done the consultations with the former president. He says that to Parliament, and that he's expecting that Haji Alima Mahama will continue the consultations. Several months down the line, the Asantehene complains in a public speech that the local government authority have not engaged the traditional chiefs. Maybe in some places the minister would resign. But nevertheless, the Otumfuo thinks that is a yes vote. So please consider it. Let's hear the Otumfuo again. In the part that is isolated, that speaks directly to a yes vote.
And by the same token, I cannot think of how any chief would have seen any incompatibility in the removal of the entrenched clauses in the Constitution to permit the election of metro and district chief executives or mayors, and also allow political parties to sponsor candidates for local elections. Sure. Because this is a matter of such momentous importance, I hope all concerned will step back and take the heat out so we can see the light in the discourse. Sure.
So the Asantehene says we should step back and allow the discourse to go on. But clearly, the Asantehene is going to vote a yes. You've heard that. He doesn't understand why. People don't understand why the elections must take place and political parties must sponsor them. I think he makes that point better in the next video that we're going to show you, where he talks about the winner takes all. He doesn't use that expression winner takes all, but he clearly makes a point about winner takes all. There again, we have isolated something to show you. It's very, very important that we do show you this one because we think that the yes vote is the way to go, but we think all of us have not thoroughly engaged with the matter, and the Ministry of Local Government has not completely done their work. So we are appealing to all the people who have a no vote, and as I said, if you know anybody who's an executive of the NDC or is a staunch member of the NDC who does not agree with this, please appeal to them that it is better for Ghana. It has nothing to do with President Otumfuo. It has nothing to do with MPP politics. This is better for Ghana. Let's hear the Asantehene again when he talks about the winner takes all situation.
Sure. A fundamental principle of democracy is that the minority have their say, but the majority have their way. Sure. But it is also true that democracy perishes when political actors do not learn to compromise. Sure. Examples of all democratic states testify to a system which allows different political parties to control local and central government institutions, create conditions in which they learn to work with each other, and to do this through compromise on policies. It is the way to constrain excessive power and restrain extremism in opposition, and allows a measure of power sharing.
So that was the Asantehene there. You heard him. So he's talking about the excessive power in one hand and the extremism of the opposition because they don't share power. He talks about democracies all over the world, how they do it. We've isolated that part once again. Let's hear it.
Examples of all democratic states testify to a system which allows different political parties to control local and central government institutions, create conditions in which they learn to work with each other, and to do this through compromise on policies. It is the way to constrain excessive power and restrain extremism in opposition, and allows a measure of power sharing.
The way to constrain excessive power and limit extremism in opposition towards power sharing, where local authority and local government systems, he says, one party can have one and another party can have another. He says it's a way to constrain power and limit opposition extremism to allow a measure of power sharing. That's what we've been preaching forever, that this opportunity will allow us to deconstruct the winner takes all situation. So let's buy into that. It's not because Asantehene is saying it, but because it is the good way to go, and also because Asantehene has understood it. So that's why I say it's an appeal. It's a campaign to people who don't understand. It's not a quarrel, and it's not to show disrespect to anyone. No one is better than anyone. No one is cleverer than anyone. But you just have to articulate this yes position in this manner, that it will help all of us to hold governments better to accountability, because winner takes all does not work, and winner takes all is what we have. And if we continue to have winner takes all, our opposition will be extremist, because the opposition get nothing. But Asantehene is saying that let us limit the constraint, let us constrain power, and let us also limit opposition extremism. Let us come to a situation of a measure of power sharing. And power sharing means that one locality takes this, another locality takes that. Okay, so this will be on video on demand on Facebook, and you can deal with it and look at it.